Now, let's see. Let me tell you a story. It's a story about a girl. About a girl and her father. You ready? Then I'll begin. It's the eve of the Feast of St. Nicholas, the 5th of December, and a young girl is going to bed. Now, you're sure you've been good all year? Asks her father. Yes, Daddy, she replies. Yes, I've been very good. You've studied hard at school, been helpful to others? The girl nods. Yes, yes, Daddy, I promise. I have. And you haven't lied. You're not lying now. She shakes her head. No, I always tell the truth, Daddy. He looks at his daughter kindly and smiles. Because lying is a sin, my dear. And we don't want the Krampus taking you away. The Krampus? She looks puzzled. You don't know who the Krampus is? Why, he is the dark side of Christmas. The demon on the streets. And today is the day the Krampus runs. Wait. Should I be scared? She asks. No. Not if you've been good, he replies. The Krampus only comes for the bad children. The lazy ones, the violent ones, the ones who tell untruths. Santa will give you presents, but the Krampus will steal you away. So you're sure you've been good, yes? The girl nodded silently. Well, I'm glad. He smiled. Then you've nothing to worry about, nothing at all. He kissed her gently on the forehead. Good night, my angel, he said. Good night, my sweet one. Rest well and dream. Tomorrow there will be gifts. And so saying, he left the room. But she didn't rest well. She didn't dream. As the wind blew outside, her mind raced with thoughts of the creature that stalked the streets. Branches scraped against her window. Slowly, the seconds passed, turning into minutes, turning into hours. She was sure she'd been good, but all the while she thought of the Krampus. What if she was wrong? What if there was something she'd forgotten? And then, suddenly, there was a noise downstairs. Hello? Is someone there? Who is it? Oh, this is wrong. I haven't done anything. A tread on the stair below. No. Go away. And another, and another, and another. Something was getting closer. Oh, please, don't do this. Don't do this. I want things to stay the way they are. And still the steps got nearer. Still they kept on walking. Now they were on the landing. Now they were at the door. No, leave me, please. Leave me alone. Let me be. No! Her father stood outside, a glass in his hand. My darling, what is it? What's the matter? I thought... I just went to get some water. Are you all right? I thought you were the Krampus. The Krampus? He frowned. Then he chuckled and smiled indulgently. Oh, my dear thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The Krampus isn't real. I didn't mean to scare you. It's just made up. It's just a story. Just a... Yes, it's a cautionary tale, a fable. To make children behave, that's all. Don't worry, it's not true. Not... She looked at him, and her eyes widened in horror. You mean it's a lie? Yes, it... Oh. And then the beast leapt from the shadows and snatched her father away. The greatest lie fiction ever told us is that it reflects reality. Maybe it's a metaphor. But it's important you see it like this, that you see it and that you understand. tell you a story again. A long time ago, and I hope you don't mind me starting like that, but it really was a long time ago, when time was merely a tributary trickling down the side of Mount Perdition, there lived a noble woman in a noble land. And the people of this place possessed many great things: power, persuasion, potential. But in order to attain these gifts, they'd made some terrible choices. They had agreed to cleave off their past, chop off their future. And now society hung in stasis, gripped by sterility. The noble woman was dismayed by this, for all she'd ever wanted was a child. By day, she performed her courtly duties, but by night, she roamed the Crystal City, looking for any wise person to assist her desire. On the mountainside, she found him, a strange, disheveled individual, carving at the ground with a stick. He was helping Time's tributary to become a small stream. She'd been told this was the man to help her. She'd visited all the other wizards and soothsayers and readers of tea leaves, and though part of her doubted she could ever be helped at all, she would leave no stone unturned. "You're the one who wants the child," said the man, without looking up. He gestured with his stick to a ragged sack in the rushes. "Take this bag. Once it's filled to the brim with water from the Sea of Life, you shall find what you seek." Curious, the noble woman scooped up the dirty bag. It was something a beggar would fill with his worldly possessions, or a farmer would use for spoiled fruit. She'd been given crystals and herbs and spells and equations, and none of them had worked. But this bag, as she turned it in her hands, she felt its power. And she knew what the stranger had said was true. The noble woman hadn't visited the shore since her youth, but her past was long cut away, and if she could imagine a future, she might have hoped her child could one day enjoy these sights and smells. But that too was lost for the present. All she had was the here and now, by the Sea of Life, and she'd brought that ragged bag. She wandered forth, wading into the water, the silver tide lapping at orange sands, and slowly she lowered the sack. Was it as simple as this? Once the bag was fully submerged, she heaved it out of the water. But something was wrong. The liquid gushed from a rip in the cloth. Could a tear in the base scupper her dreams? The noblewoman tried to fill the bag again. She pinched the tear with her hand. But the Sea of Life still burbled between her fingers. She folded the loose seam in various ways, but still the sack could not be filled. She filled it quickly, she filled it slowly. But whatever she tried, the water leaked all the same. She did this again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And the bag was never full. After who knows how long, wandering in the sea, for the small stream of time is becoming quite a river, the noblewoman waded back to the shore. This task of hers would take longer than anticipated. But she took a deep breath. She woke on the beach, cradling her bag. She cut a square from her cloak and stitched it over the tear. She walked out to sea, dipped the sack in the water, and carried it back to dry land. But the land wasn't dry when she reached it. The patch of cloth always came away. The water dribbled everywhere, soaking into the sand, disappearing in the heat of the sun. She did this again and again and again and again and again and again. Days went by, weeks, months. The river of time was heading her way, welling into great lakes and made swamps in the shimmering forest. And the squares of cloth mounted up by her feet. They'd soaked up the water, dried in the heat, and hardened like cards. She gathered them up, and she dealt them out. In the squares of cloth that she lay on the sand, the noble woman saw all of reality. For the river of time had fed into the sea of life, and all its wonder had washed upon the shore and soaked into the cards. And the noble woman saw she had to keep trying to fill her torn bag, no matter how many times it took. Every day she walked into the sea. Every evening she returned. At night, she simply sat there, reading the cards, waiting for light. She'd long since abandoned her courtly duties. She'd long since separated from her friends. And the locals who spied her, sitting on the shore, took to calling her the woman who waited for nothing. Or, more kindly, Lady Patience. She lost count of how many times she tried her task. But all time was lost as well. For Lady Patience had emptied the entire sea of life. She'd spilled all of time, all over the shore. And there, at the bottom of the dry ocean, snuggled on the seabed, was a child. The thing about Lady Patience's child, when she found him, she broke the curse of her land. They got back their past and their future. The persistence paid off. The wait was worth it.